already done more Chalk Talks in a losing fashion than we did all of last season. Can you already believe that? 4 losses have mounted up, and boy, they've been close, and they're, like most NFL games, come down to a couple plays here or there. Maybe none bigger than this one. The 4th and 1, about 7 minutes to go. The Seahawks down 4 points. And you know the play. It was a throw to Doug Baldwin, and lots of fun details as we dig into players, formations, plays, like all of these Chalk Talks, and as we'll do over the next 6 weeks of this season. 4th and 1, Pete Carroll decides to go for it. And if you remember correctly, the previous play, it was a 4th down, not the previous play, but actually Kansas City calls timeout. And what Seattle was in was going to be a 3-by-1 front, one of their more popular formations. Those 3 receivers to a side. Doug Baldwin was on the inside. You saw it before the play was blown dead. It's going to be a little sprint out to Russell's left, and they're going to run a little rub concept, freeing Doug Baldwin into the flat. Andy Reid says not so fast. He doesn't like his look. He calls timeout to once again remind his guys of what Seattle likes to do in these situations. You get to 4th and 1, you get to players, and what do you want? You want one-on-one. You want Doug Baldwin, right now, your best receiver, in a one-on-one situation. You get into a formation that really clears up the picture for Russell Wilson. This is going to be a check-with-me situation. If Kansas City would have done anything but load the box here and play ultimately what becomes cover zero safety, if they do anything else, if they walk people out, they walk a linebacker out, they're messing around with the front, I really believe they're going to run their inside zone play. Instead, well, Kansas City absolutely loads the box up with every defender they have available, leaving everybody in those one-on-one situations. Cover zero, as I said, no safety. Everybody's locked in man for man, and Kansas City doesn't even try to bluff it. They show their cards because ultimately, I think Kansas City wants Seattle to throw it rather than to give some kind of look that may lead to a run. So ultimately, they get into a formation that declares very clearly the coverage and the intent of Kansas City, and then ultimately they run the play. And in this case, it is a concept that Seattle's run an awful lot, that these two, Russell Wilson and Doug Baldwin, have worked on for years. You go out to OTAs, you go out to training camp, you're going to see this combination. You look around the NFL, you're going to see this route combination. And they put Paul Richardson to the side, and he's going to run a quick slant. And Doug Baldwin, it's not a fade. A fade is an outside one-on-one. Doug Baldwin's going to run right to the corner, and Russell Wilson is trained to throw it right to the back pylon, and they get everything they want except, well, Kansas City on this route. And watch Doug. Doug pauses. First of all, you'll notice the inside leverage. When you're playing cover zero, you don't want to give up the slant, so you get inside leverage, giving you the release you want to the corner. And Kansas City passes this off really well. In fact, they pass it off perfectly, other than the cornerback pushing Doug in the back. And what I mean by passing it off is this cornerback, even though he's in zero coverage, he has to have some level of awareness, some level of eyes of what the route concept is, because once Doug releases here, he's got the nickel beat. He's beaten in coverage, and all this corner can do is try to suck in and get on that route, and instead, he even does better. He gets a little push to the back. Doug, unfortunately, comes off his route. The pass goes incomplete. You don't get the call. Pete Carroll says, and he turns it into the league and says, that's pass interference. He impeded Doug Baldwin's ability to get to the ball, which would have been a touchdown. He pushes right in the back. Unfortunately, doesn't maybe draw the contact. Unfortunately, Doug doesn't flop. Unfortunately, they don't get the call for the Seahawks. Kansas City makes the play, but everything designed just the way they want it, the matchup they want, the space they want, and ultimately, unfortunately, the play they don't want as Kansas City goes on to win.